Hey everybody, this is Robert Burke. Welcome back to When to Play. I know it's been a while since I've done one of the video series, but had some time today and thought I would go over a game that's pretty popular in our game group and a lot of the game groups that I've seen. It's called Coup by Indie Boards and Cards. This is a bluffing and deduction game where basically players can lie about the cards that they have. But there are penalties for being caught in a lie. So it is a very highly interactive, very quick filler game that can be a lot of fun with the right group of people. It takes place in the Resistance universe. Indie Boards and Cards is pretty well known for their games The Resistance and The Resistance Avalon. And the original Resistance is kind of this futuristic society where the Resistance is this underground group kind of fighting against the powers that be. And Coup takes place in that kind of universe. However, the theme really isn't connected here at all. It's not a thematic game in any sense. It really could have been anything and it would have worked with any kind of theme. So although it's set in that world, the theme isn't really strong in the game. But it is a very fun game. It's a very light game. The artwork in the game is really, and the graphic design as well, is fantastic. You'll see on the cover here, it's got this nice metallic box. That's the Contessa. That's one of the cards from the game. And you can see here's the card in the game. They're nice large cards. I don't know if they're quite tarot size, but they're nice big linen finished cards. They're pretty good quality. So the cards are very nice, and there's only 5 different roles in the game. It's a small game. I have the Kickstarter edition, so my game came with a bunch of alternate art and some extra cards, and it came with upgraded coins and things. So if you buy the game when I think it's sold out right now, but I think it's being reprinted and you'll be able to get it. It's very inexpensive. So I think you'll probably be able to pick it up $10 to $12, so it's definitely worth it for the price. But it's a very small game. The game includes 5 different cards, and here they are. You've got the Contessa, and the Duke, and the Ambassador. I'll show you the different artwork here. The Assassin, and every one has their own unique symbol here, you'll see, which is very good. It's very easy to read and understand, and you can pick up the game very quickly. And finally, the Captain. So each one of these roles, you're gonna start the game with just 2 cards. So it could be any combination of these, and there's only 3 of each of these cards in the whole game. The Duke lets you take money. You have the Duke, you can take 3 money. The Contessa blocks you from an assassin. If you're assassinated, you're going to have to flip one of your cards face up. When both of your cards are flipped face up, you can lose a card if you fail in a challenge, if somebody calls your bluff and you were lying, or if you call somebody's bluff and they're telling the truth, you have to lose one of your character cards. Also, the assassin can kill you. If you can't protect against it with the Contessa, you have to flip one of your character cards face up. Also, when somebody has 7 coins, they can coup you, and there is no defense against that. You just lose a character card. When you lose both of them, you're out of the game. So that's one of the downsides of the game, is the player elimination, and I'll talk about that in a bit. But we have the Ambassador, who lets you get new cards from the deck. So if you play the Ambassador, or claim to have the Ambassador, if you have 2 cards, you get to draw 2 cards, look at all 4, decide which 2 you're going to keep out of the 4, and put 2 back. So that's a way to get new cards. The Assassin kills another character that you target, but it costs you 3 money. And then the Captain lets you steal 2 money from any player. So that's it. That's all the things you can do in the game. And it's really more about the interaction and bluffing, trying to figure out who has what, knowing when to call somebody's bluff, knowing when not to call somebody's bluff. So it's very highly interactive in that regard. Okay, so when do you play Coup? Coup really is, as I said, a great filler game. This is a game you can pull out when you only have 15 or 20 minutes in between games at a game night. It is a game that is very easy to pick up. So I can definitely recommend this for families. I can recommend it for non-gamers. If your family are not gamers, but maybe they like to play card games, this is a game you can definitely introduce to them because it is not complicated. It is not long, and it's fast to play and easy to pick up. So I would definitely say it's definitely worth the small investment you need to make for the game. Now, with that being said, I do think there's problems with the game that I don't personally find attractive. Things that I think could have been a little different to give it a little bit more meat. But I don't want to, and I'm going to talk about that a little more, but I don't want you to think that I'm saying the game is a bad game. It's not. It drives a lot of fun interaction, and it is a fun game. If you like, bluffing and lying and stealing from players and, if interaction between players and finger pointing and that kind of stuff, Coup really drives that kind of interaction. And if you enjoy that, it is a very fun game. If you don't like that, if you like more strategic games, then Coup is probably not something you're going to like. If you don't like highly interactive, take that kind of games, or if you don't like bluffing, I know some players just don't like to lie. They don't want to have to lie in a game. And if you can't lie well in this game, then you're probably not going to do very well at it. So some players don't like that. So keep that in mind. But if you think that kind of stuff is fun, then Coup is definitely something you want to play. If you're a gamer, kind of like me, and this is where I have a problem with it, it is very limited. I mean, like I said, there's only 5 characters that you have. So there's not, once you've played it, it's really fun the first 5 to 10 times you play it. But after that, it kind of gets boring, for me anyway, because it's you see all the combinations, the only thing that can really change it is maybe playing it with different people, different groups of people, and introducing them, and that can make it fun again for you, for sure. But with just 5, it's very limited with just 5 characters. So I don't feel there's a lot of replayability there. You kind of enjoy the game, then you're kind of over it. For me, anyway. You might be different, though. So just keep that in mind. There's not a lot of meat in this game. It is pure, but that's okay, right? Because it's cheap and it's very fast to play. 15 to 20 minutes. The other thing is the player elimination. I think player elimination is just, it's not a good thing. Game design today has come a long way, and when somebody is eliminated from a game, it's not fun. If you're eliminated from playing a game, it's not fun. That is reduced here, though, because again, the game is so fast. Even if you're eliminated, you're not going to have to wait long to play the next game. But even still, if you're playing with, say, 6 players and you're the first one to go out, and maybe you're targeted early, and you lose both your characters, you're out of the game, and you just have to be a spectator until the game is over. So that's not a good experience. So that's something to keep in mind with Coup, is that's definitely, it's a player elimination game. And having just those 2 cards, the risk is great. If you challenge somebody, you're going to have to flip one over, and you're halfway done, right? The next time, if somebody coups you, you're out of the game. So some people feel like they don't ever want to take that risk because it's so dramatic. You can lose easily if you challenge somebody or if you lie and are challenged. So I don't find that to be a problem with the game personally, but you may have a problem with that. The risk reward is the risk maybe a little too high to drive that kind of bluffing that makes the game so great. I think it's okay, but I've heard some players complain about that. But the bottom line, I think, for Coup is it's definitely worth the money. I had such a good time. Well, the first time I played the game, I was eliminated early. I'm like, this game is horrible. And then I got to play it more, and I understood it, and got into it, and we had a ball playing it. So again, the first 5 or 10 times I played it, I had a really good time. But now, every time I play it, I feel like I want more. I wish there was just more to it, more roles or more choices, more things to do, more ways to subvert, that kind of stuff. So it's kind of worn out its welcome pretty quickly. But you know what? For $10 or $12, or I paid $15 for it on Kickstarter for the Kickstarter edition, I think. For $15, I got, one game and you get your money's worth. Right? I mean, that's the cost of a movie, a night out. So definitely worth having in your collection. But if you're like me, you might feel like you're left wanting more. So like I usually do, let's look at Board Game Geek and let's look at Coup and let's look at a lot of the players who have rated Coup. And we're going to look at people who have rated it very low, like 1 to 3, which means they don't like the game. And we'll look at people that rated it a 10, meaning they really love this game. Maybe that can help you decide if it's a game for you or not. So let's look at some of the 1s first. These are people who've rated the game a 1. Jack says, terrible. It requires the entire group to be expert liars, bluffers for it to even function properly. The elimination aspect only makes it worse. So again, I think that I touched on that. The elimination part of the game is, I don't want to say it's inexcusable in game design today. And this is kind of an older game, too, that came from Japan and was rethemed by Indie Boards and Cards. So it has, I don't know how long it's been around, but it's been around for a little while. But that player elimination just feels old and unnecessary. Like there could have been a better way to do it, because when somebody is eliminated from a game, or if they're played like, you lose your turn, that kind of stuff, that kind of take that stuff, it's not a good experience for whoever that happens to, right? If somebody's eliminated from Coup the first time they play it in the first, very quickly, and in the second game maybe they're eliminated quickly, they're never going to want to play it again. So just keep that in mind if you're playing this with new people, is player elimination doesn't leave a good taste in a player's mouth when they're the one that's eliminated. This game definitely has that. But again, it's not as bad because the game is so quick, but it is there nonetheless. He also says players need to be expert liars and bluffers. I don't think that's true. I think the game functions quite well if people aren't expert liars and bluffers. I think when you have a group of people who really get into that role of bluffing other people and lying and trying to, have them make decisions that go against the reality of the cards that you have, that's really fun stuff. So if players are into that, the game is going to be more fun, right? The more interactive and fun your group is, the better it's going to be. Definitely. But I don't think you have to have that to make the game function properly. So I disagree with Jack on that. Devon says, Duke, I'm taking $3. Z, like I'm going to sleep. So again, the Duke is a character that takes 3 money. You say, I have the Duke, I'm taking 3 money. And you can lie about it, even if you don't have the Duke. You say, I have the Duke, I'm taking 3 money. And if somebody challenges you, you lose a character if you don't have the Duke. If you do, they lose a character, right? But the Duke, it's like, I'm taking 3 money. So that's a really opening move. People all want to claim the Duke because they want to start getting money, because money is going to let you coup other players to win the game. So after you see this happen over and over and over again, I think that's what he's saying by putting ZZZZZ, is it gets tiring, it gets boring. You're doing the same things over and over and over again. And because there's a lack of different roles in the game, I tend to agree that after a while, it's fun at first, really fun, as a matter of fact, but it gets old quickly. He says it's even worse than Love Letter, and that he got suckered into it because of the Resistance name. Yeah, and it's definitely set in the Resistance world, but is nothing like the Resistance. It really is not. So I would warn, don't just buy the game because you're a fan of the Resistance. Definitely play it first and see if it's something that you want to add. Then we have some others. Hubert says player elimination plus low number of personalities kills it. It's missing at least 2 to 3 personality cards. Masquerade is much better. So Hubert is kind of seeing the same kind of issues that I see with Coup, and I think a lot of players see with Coup. It's just it leaves you wanting more. But again, it's a fun game. It's worth I mean, for $12, it's absolutely worth it. But it leaves you wanting more and wishing, man, I wish it was a $20 game and just had a little bit more, because then it would be something really fantastic. Let's see at some of the people who have rated a 10. James says it's a fantastic lying bluffing game in the same vein as Kaken Poker, which I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. I'm not familiar with that game, which he loves. But this offers a few more angles, though also very slightly harder to teach grasp. Really packs a punch for a game that consists of 15 cards and plays in 5 minutes. Well, it doesn't really play in 5 minutes. If you're playing with a small number of people, maybe, but if you're playing with 6 people, it should take longer than 5 minutes to play. So I don't know where he's getting the 5-minute timeline. 15 to 20, definitely, but 5 minutes might be a little short. But it only has 15 cards, right? So that's true. For a game that's only 15 cards, it's pretty fun. Brian says, an excellent bluffing tactical game. Despite being able to play with some chips and a deck of cards, I went ahead and picked up a copy. So he rated it a 10 as well. So yeah, Coup, I mean, 15 cards, you could probably make your own version and play it and try it out and download the rules and do it yourself and see if you like it. But again, we're not talking about a lot of money. You know, for the 10 or 12 bucks that you're going to pay for, you're going to get a nice box, you're going to get nice chips, money chips, you're going to get, I didn't show you these, you're going to get a nice rule book, you're going to get this nice card, and these are important because it shows you every role in the game, all the actions you can take, whether you use a roll card or not, some of the roles block actions of other roles. So this is a good reference, especially for new players, that lets you know which character can do what. Because again, you're lying a lot of the times. Like, I'm going to claim the Duke, but I don't have the Duke, but I need money, right? So I'm going to lie about it. So this lets you know which character does what. Now, when there's new players, it's interesting because, they might be looking at their character sheet or their cards, and you can kind of use where you're looking to throw people on or off. So that can be interesting, especially with new players. As players get more experience, that gets more subtle, and I think more interesting. But again, it kind of gets repetitive and boring and wears out its welcome quickly. So I hope this review helped you. I hope I didn't sound too negative on Coup, because I think it's brought a lot to the table, and a lot of people really enjoy this game. I see it played a ton. I see Coup played in the groups I'm part of more than the Resistance is played now. So that's a pretty big deal. But again, I wish it had more meat on the bone. Thanks again for watching. My name's Robert Burke, and we'll be back again soon with When to Play. Bye-bye.